Bardell next. Thank you. Anna.
To say, serve under your chairmanship and once again thank and congratulate the right honourable gentleman for Elmet and Rothwell for raising this. It was just less than a week ago we were in the same debate together debating the Cumberledge report and the terrible treatment of women who have suffered at the hands of the hormone pregnancy drug Primados, and it just feels very much like we are here time and time again discussing how women are being systematically discriminated against in our society, and it's 2022. And it's 21 years since endometriosis was first debated in the House of Commons. Members may not know that. And I read recently that people who will lose out most when COVID is over are women who are less likely than men to return to work because of the challenges of childcare. It's always women who seem to lose out. And as the Honourable Lady has just said, if this was a man's issue, I suspect we wouldn't even be having this debate. But we need men in the debate and in the ring discussing with us and pushing ahead, because it will affect them and their families and their partners and their children and members, people around them. And certainly I know I want to pay tribute to the many local groups. We will all have local endometriosis groups in our constituency. And Candice and Claire from the Endo Warriors West Lothian, I want to pay particular tribute to. They are both sufferers of endometriosis and they fight relentlessly for sufferers in our constituency, in our area. Endo Bonds are another group, a Scottish group I've met with recently, and of course Endometriosis UK who do fantastic work. And as the new co-chair of the all-party parliamentary group, along with the Honourable Lady for Kingston upon Hull, we pay tribute to Sir David Amos and the work that he did on this issue. He was an important and doughty champion for those who suffer from endometriosis. But it does feel very much like it's policies and it's legislation, and that's dry and it's dull and it's boring, but it is a reality. It's a reality for women and endo sufferers every single day of their lives that they are being discriminated against. Now, that might not be the intention of the employer at times. I think sometimes that might be in some ways accidental, because the legislation and the policies that are in place across the UK do not support, do not understand and do not recognise endometriosis as such a chronic and debilitating condition that 1 in 10 women suffer from. So many women. It is a hidden condition and there is little or no awareness, although I think the Honourable Lady is right, who's just spoken, things are changing. Sceptical and unaccommodating employers when it comes to supporting them in the workplace has a devastating impact. And in our all-party group inquiry in 2020, we found that 55% had taken time off work as a result of endometriosis, 38% were afraid of losing their job due to the condition, and 35% reported reduced income as a result. One sufferer said, "I left my teaching career due to the exhaustion of endometriosis. I loved education, so I took a position as a teaching assistant, which saw a drop in finance of £18,000 a year. I felt pressured not to take any time off and work through pain frequently." And the right honourable gentleman spoke passionately and graphically about the reality. And I know, as a woman, who has had such bad periods that I have bled through either at school or at university or work, how embarrassing, how devastating that can be. And I have what would be classed as relatively normal periods. For endometriosis sufferers, they're passing out in their workplaces. They're passing out in the street. They're not able to get to the toilet and they're not able to be given just the very basic dignity. We are not in a third world country, but that's what this feels like. The treatment of those who suffer from endometriosis feels like they are being treated and are existing in a third world country. And the NHS, on their top 20 list of chronic pain conditions, is endometriosis, but you wouldn't know it. And the right honourable gentleman spoke about chronic pain and about the support for that, and I think that's incredibly important as well. So we are robbing women and those who suffer from endometriosis of the ability to maintain and progress in their career, to provide for their families, for financial stability and independence, and so often devastating mental health problems. And it should not have taken a global pandemic for us to review how we support flexibility in the workplace, but it has. And you know, the irony of that situation, that the waiting times now for treatment for endometriosis are even worse than they were before the pandemic. But the pandemic has in some ways facilitated us in rethinking and reimagining what flexibility people need and should have as a very basic. Because trying to work with endometriosis and just live with endometriosis is debilitating. The Department of Work and Pensions has to recognise that. The government of the day has to recognise that. And employers need to be supported and given the information, as do educational institutions. Endo Warriors West Lothian have developed the most incredible educational video for young people in schools, and they worked with Professor Andrew Horn at the University of Edinburgh to develop and fund that. We want to roll that out across Scotland, across the UK, across the world. And we want to get content and policies and laws that support endometriosis sufferers to make sure that they do not have to live in pain and to suffer the way that so many who we are speaking up on behalf of today are suffering. I hope the Minister will listen and that it will not just be lip service today, it will be real, tangible action.